see you again. Today I was told that there is no mic here, so I'm not sure about the sound on YouTube. If you can't hear me, please say something or maybe write something so we can improve it. I will try to speak a little bit louder, although, well, it's not about speaking but about sitting. So for sitting we don't need so many words. Anyway, I'm really happy to see you again. Hope you are there with me today. And we have the 17th of February, and spring is around the corner, at least here in Japan. As you know, the Japanese people are really sensitive to the seasons, to the changing seasons, and to the beauty of changing seasons. And those of you who have been here probably experience the same thing. As you can see the cherry blossoms in March or April. Then we have the maple in autumn. All the different. Actually, I was not aware of that before I came here to Japan. So of course you can read about it in books. You can sort of hear about it maybe somewhere on TV or on the internet. But it's kind of for me it was like abstract. But now even after I've been here this is my 11th year here in Japan. So although I don't live in the center of Tokyo, I live fortunately I live in the suburbs. So it's on the outskirts of Tokyo. So there is lots of nature and forests and small lakes and parks. So it's very beautiful. So sometimes when I talk to my friends and I say to them that I like listening to the birds singing, or crickets, for example, in autumn in September. So they always sort of don't believe me, and they say, where do you live? I say where I live in Tokyo. But for people who Google Tokyo on the internet, so you have lots of skyscrapers and lots of people, Shibuya, and crowds and things like that. So nobody can hear birds. Well, you can hear like artificial sound of the birds at the stations. They play it from the recording. But fortunately I can experience it live, so I'm very happy about it. But what I'm saying is that now the spring is coming, and Japanese apricot, we say ume, or we can say plums. Sometimes people say plums, are starting to bloom, and it's so beautiful. So the trees are becoming white and becoming pink, and you can you can feel the fragrance of these flowers. So very, very beautiful. Although now it's still about like 10% or something, so it's not the full bloom yet. I think we have to wait like 2 weeks maybe, or 3 weeks. So this is the first wave of spring, at least for me. And then the second wave comes. Well, first wave or second wave in the context of pandemic sounds sounds scary maybe for many of us when we say like second wave or third wave. But I'm saying this sort of the second wave of spring is the middle of March, when the birds starts to sing very loudly in the morning. So for example, when we have morning practice and we make offering, and when we pray together, so we often pray with birds singing behind the window. So it's very, very beautiful, and they do it as best as they can. Wake up in the morning and we sit and they sing, and very beautiful. And then we have the sakura, the cherry blossoms here in Tokyo. I think the second part of March, and sometimes there are two types of people as far as flowers. So some people say, oh, do you like these Japanese apricots, ume, plums, or do you like sakura? And I always say, well, if someone asks me, I always say I prefer Japanese apricots, because there is this beautiful fragrance, and then after this harsh, although it's very short, winter season, I can feel that everything is coming back to life, and me too. I always wait for spring to come. So I always say that Japanese apricots is really something I like a lot, and it's still so. But when it comes to sakura, so for me it's kind of like, sometimes I say it's like too pinky or too what do you say, like it looks too luxurious, and everyone, like many people taking photos of this sakura, and you can, you know, all the world is talking about cherry blossoms in Japan and things. So I said, oh, it's kind of like too commercial. But actually, when you see the trees, I mean the flowers, everything is white or everything is pink. Wow! So then I say, yeah, sakura is really, really beautiful. So it's really the encounter with such a simple thing like a flower, or such a simple thing like singing of a bird, or some kind of sound, natural sound, not the sound from your headphones, but natural sound. Or maybe the color of the sky in the evening, which I really love too, but I'm not going to talk about it because we don't have so much time. So, so coming back to the beginning, that's why when we talk about this changing seasons or the beauty of the seasons, at least here in Japan, I always I can feel it, experience it on myself, and I always say it's really, really something to worth seeing and worth experiencing. And then when it comes to Zen to it, when it comes to our practice, actually, I think it's the appreciation for nature, because when you see traditional Buddhist teachings, for example, and now when you see, for example, how it was transplanted into the West, into America or Europe, so it lacks this essence of nature. I mean, people don't, maybe it's because people are different, I don't know. But when you have the encounter with Zen in this Chinese context, or especially in Japanese context, so it's lots of nature, lots of flowers, lots of symbolics behind all these natural aspects of our life. And then nature is always something, like we could say, the extension of what we are. It's not that I'm here and nature is somewhere there and I try to control it, I try to fight it off or something. It's always part of our practice, especially in Zen. Zen is kind of, we could say, like the what do you say, like the climax or the very peak of the unity of nature and man, we could say, in simple terms. So when you go, for example, to Vipassana meditation retreats or different kind of traditional Buddhist meditation retreats, like nobody talks about nature actually. You can sit in a dirty room, you can sit in a room full of things all around you. Well, like you don't even care about the sky, you don't even care about what's around you, because you are focused on yourself. You're focused on your breath, you're focused on your, I don't know, solving your own suffering as you are told to, and you're you're into yourself, we could say, which is of course fine. I'm not criticizing, but when you look at it from the perspective of how Zen treats things, it's not about coming in, but it's just opening everything. So you open all that you are, or all that you have thought you are. So you open your eyes, you open your ears, you open your all your senses, you open your pores in your skin, you open your breath, everything, and you are more outwards, we could say. The direction is kind of different, at least I think so. That's why you can absorb everything that is traditionally thought to be outside of you. So you become one with the tree, you become one with the birds, you become one with all those beautiful sounds around it, you become one with the color of the sky, or the cherry blossoms or plum blossoms, whatever you call it. And then when you it's actually how it feels. And so I think it's one of the most beautiful aspects of our practice. When you when you think about it, yeah, indeed, it works like that. And you don't have to push it. You don't have to make it happen. It just happens. So there is this less grip on coming into yourself, but you just let it go, and then everything comes in naturally, or you go out naturally. I don't know which direction is better when we talk about it. So these aspects of nature, these aspects of what we say environment, is so much important for in our practice. That's why the room when you sit, whether it's tatami room, whether it's your whatever room you are, so what it looks like or how it feels is so much important. And this is actually the first step that we do in our practice. We start with the form. How you walk, how you sit, how you talk, all it influences your practice. So it's not like I meditate, this is the number one, and then everything is the sort of second importance. No, the other way around. You just arrange all the things, and then naturally your mind arranges. In the same way, when you arrange your body, all naturally your mind arranges. That's why we talk many times about, oh, you cross your legs like that, you put your hands like that, and then some people can say, oh, how many times do you have to talk about it? but it's all about form. So the form is the same, is the manifestation of what or how what your mind looks like. That's why when I was when I was riding on the train coming here an hour ago, I saw one Japanese. She was maybe 50 or 60, I don't know. And she was on the train and she was talking with another person, and suddenly he gave her some present or I don't know, some gift or something, and then she put her hands together and said, oh, thank you, arigato, arigato, in Japanese. So it was so sweet to see her palms joined together. In Japanese we say Gassho. Gassho, it means just folding your hands together, or joining the palms of your hands together, right hand and left hand. And it's so simple. It's just form, we could say. You just have one hand, right hand, left hand, and you just put together. Nothing sort of, we could say, what's so deep about it. But when you actually do it, as there is one Japanese poem which says that the flower don't bloom when the spring comes, but the flower bloom when you fold your hands together, or when you join your palms together. So the flower, of course, is not about literally speaking the flower, but flower is a symbolism of life or beauty, happiness, whatever you call it, at least in Buddhism. So we could say that when you join your palms together, you bloom. What you are blooms, we could say. You develop, you evolve, you become softer, you become more delicate, you become more united with others, with other people, with other things, with animate or inanimate objects. So it all comes from, or it all blooms from out of palms joined together. But when we try to do it, at least, especially foreigners, although young Japanese people sometimes can't do it too. Recently, for example, when you have this tradition of folding your hands together before you take food for your breakfast or dinner, so you always fold your hands, at least traditionally, and then you take food and you eat it. Recently, not so many people do it, maybe elderly people, but young kids or young people just eat. So the first thing they think is like, I'm hungry and I have to eat. But traditionally you fold your hands together, you express gratitude for the food. Maybe if you eat meat, you express gratitude for the animal that was killed so that you could eat his life. So you have this more connection and this spiritual dimension which is blooming within you or out of you through these folded hands together, as in this poem that I took. But nowadays it's like, I'm hungry, I have to eat, and that's all. You don't think about others, and it's more like sort of narrow approach to that. But so Gassho, or joining palms together, although it's just a form, and we could say, okay, I can do it, but try to do it. It's really actually difficult. At least, for example, when you have to do it in front of the person who did something wrong to you. Or whom you don't like, or maybe he or she doesn't like. Well, try to make Gassho and put these hands together and look at his or her face. It's not so easy. For example, when I remember about like 20 or something years ago, when first time I came to one of the Buddhist or Zen centers in Europe, in my country, and then they told me to fold my hands together or to join my palms together and to prostrate or to make a bow in front of the Buddha statue. And I felt like really, like why do I have to do it? And then I felt like, like two magnets being minus and plus, and they are sort of, I felt like, no, don't do it, like some kind of voice whispering behind my ears, like it was really difficult. I was sort of kind of, I don't know, I felt like there's something outside of me that I have to do it. But with time, with practice, it becomes softer and it becomes easier. But in the beginning, it's so much difficult. That's why even if we talk about such a simple form as making a bow or putting your hands together in front of other people, in front of other person, it's not so easy. But then this is how our practice is expressed through. So it's not only about sitting, which is also form, but it's also about Gassho, which is about joining our heads together and meeting other people, meeting other things, meeting everything that we encounter in our life. So this joining palms together is like a very deep encounter with what is. So when we have an argument with someone, or when someone is trying to do some bad thing to us, so then when we try to unite it, or this negative power and make Gassho, join our hands together, then like miraculously all this evil sort of force disappears. Well, don't challenge so much, because maybe I cannot guarantee for sure, but at least in my case it happens very often when someone sort of is irritated or someone is trying to say some unpleasant things to you. So when you talk to this person in Gassho, so then suddenly his or her face really changes, and they are at loss for words, and sometimes they are just speechless, or they try to say, oh, so I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that or something. So this really just, and I think even Master Dogen said in one of the texts, I don't remember where it was, but he said sometimes we complain, oh, I cannot practice because I don't have time, or I cannot practice because I don't know, I'm too fat, or I cannot practice because I don't know, I'm too busy, or we have different kind of excuses not to practice. But then he says, hey, you have hands. You can make Gassho every time you want. This is perfect practice. You can practice every day. You can practice with your wife, you can practice with your kids, you can practice with your dog, you can practice with your boss, you can practice with your enemy, you can practice with your lover, you can practice with whatever you want. You can practice with the sky, looking at, oh, such a beautiful sky, and make Gassho and look at the sky. Or when you see the flower, you can say, oh, such a beautiful flower, and then you don't have to say it, but you can sort of express your gratitude, your love, your admiration, appreciation in joining two hands together. It's such a beautiful manifestation of your practice. And when you make it into a custom, joining hands together instead of putting them in your pockets, then you see, I don't have to use my smartphone so many times a day, because you cannot check your smartphone with your hands together. So, well, maybe it's another way of ending your smartphone addiction. I don't know, a new way or something, a Buddhist way of ending addiction to your smartphone. But that's true. We have hands. We can practice in the same way. When we have legs, we can practice walking meditation. We don't have to sit. Some people say, "Oh, I cannot sit because full lotus is too difficult for me, or half lotus is too difficult for me." Oh, well, if it's too difficult for you, but still you can walk. You can sit straight on your sofa, or you can sit straight on. You can take care of the place where you sit. It doesn't have to be so much formal. And we have this body. We have mouth. We have our mouth. We can say pleasant things to others. Can I help you? Is there something I can do for you? We can say I'm sorry. We can say forgive me. We can say have a nice journey. We can say see you next time. It all manifests, or it all sees where we are in our practice. So the same with hands, and that's why this form is not something secondary, as we often think, but it's really something that we should take care of and accept it, or sort of incorporate in our practice. So please think about this joining hands together in this way, and try to make it part of your practice. Maybe from now on, at least I really encourage you to do it. Okay, so please, but before you do it, maybe let's have a period of formal practice, and we share the silence together. So if you sit, well, I cannot see you on YouTube, so I don't know where you are, but if you are sitting on a cushion, so please sit straight. You can sit in a full lotus position, or you can sit in half lotus position. Whichever is fine, but make sure that your knees are on the floor, that you are really supported with the floor. If you sit on the chair, so make sure that you're straight, that your spine is straight. Actually, I'm struggling here a little bit because the rope that I have is sort of very delicate, and I'm slipping. The zafu that I'm sitting on is very slippery, so I have to sort of I'm going all the time to the front, which is not good. So you make sure that you sit on something that is not slippery, so that you can have the support of your practice, of the place that you sit. And when you sit comfortably, so make sure that your spine is straight. Open your chest. And make sure that your ears are in the same line with your shoulders, and then your nose is in the same line with your navel. Okay, move. You can, before we start, you can put your hands on your knees and make a few movements from left to right. And then you put your hands on your lap, right hand on your left hand. Okay. Don't close your eyes. So again, as I said in the beginning, we don't try to move in, to go into yourself, but really reframe it and open everything. Like we open the windows in the morning to get some fresh air, so in the same way we open our ears, our eyes, our nose. Mouth we keep closed, and we breathe through our nose. And then you feel stable in this position, so stay there. together and make a vow. And then put your hands on your knees and sway a few times from left to right, left to right. Okay, all right. So this is it for the February meeting in our Zen class, and I really hope to see you soon. And the next time is going to take place on the 24th of March. So then we'll be all pink in Sakura. So I hope so. I really enjoyed being here with you, and I hope that you too. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And once again, I would like to encourage you to engage in this simple practice of putting or joining the palms of your hands together. You can start your day with this simple act, and you can end your day with this simple act. Instead of checking your iPhone before you go to sleep, you can check if your palms are together, and you don't have to say anything. Even if you don't have time for formal practice, you just try to keep for 2-3 minutes both your hands together, and you will see that in 1 month you will all in bloom. Okay, your life will be all in bloom. Everything will be in flowers. So please believe me in that. Okay. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day wherever you are, and see you next time. Thank you.